I'm Jackson, and I hate this haircut. Whew, that's loads better. Now that I've proved I can change things I hate, I can tackle a bigger problem. Platform fighters.
It's not that I hate them, I'm just awful at them. The Blast Zone has never seen so many Donkey Kongs. Despite all the time I've put into them, I can never seem to improve. The only feasible solution to my predicament is to make my own.
Yo, the hit game!
The Hit Game is a new fighting game that everyone is playing, by which I mean exclusively me because netcode is a pain to program for. The character select screen is questionable at best. I'll explain why in a bit, but first, let's take a look at the expansive cast of characters. Freefaller was the first character I ever created. I brought him back from a critically acclaimed game I made years ago, adapting his moveset to a platform fighter. His neutral ground is an Indiana Jones style whip, adapted from his grappling hook. That reminds me, I should explain how the attacks work. Every character has just 4 moves: a neutral ground, a special ground, a neutral air, and a special air. The simplicity of the game forces the player to—
Who cares about the player? That makes it way easier to code.
So, Freefaller's neutral ground is a whip, which can combo into his special ground where he launches himself forward. However, to make him combo, you have to time the special ground in the 3-frame window that the whip hits. If you do manage to connect the special ground, the natural follow-up is the neutral air attack, a short dive downwards. All of these attacks are perfectly serviceable on their own, but I wanted to have at least one combo-heavy character in this game with 4 moves. The special air attack tosses out up to 2 boxes, which Freefaller can hit across the stage. These can be useful in walling out the opponent, is what I would say if I've played against anyone else before. Instead, they just kind of float around. The second character is Snake Hunter, whose origins are discussed in a previous video. His moveset is identical to the one in his game. Sword, 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 and sword. We can move on from him now. The third character is a stone.
Luigi.
So to keep the naming convention consistent, it's called Stoner. It's not a womp because it has a nose. Stoner is very big, very slow, and very bad. However, its moves do have giant hitboxes, like its neutral ground. It's the first multi-hit of the game where it spins around and does a whopping 21 damage. Its special ground is an annoying spray of rocks that would wall out even Brawl Meta Knight. Despite its speed, its expansive hitboxes likely make it a pain to fight. Its air attacks offer much less versatility. The neutral air has it slam face first into the dirt, or around the world if you aren't careful. As for the special air,
The court finds you guilty of being unfunny. Your sentence is making a Twitter account. Is that a piano? I'm trying my goddamn best.
by ground attacks alone, Staffmaster might be the best character in the game. It's fast, it's small, and it has more range than the distance between me and my father.
We're actually really close, but the character is so tiny that the distance is big relatively.
The ground neutral is a multi-hit poke that actually feels like a smash move. It's pretty low to the ground, but its speed and range make up for its shortcomings. Also, it has this. The ground special is another move that will have people crying. Usually there's another word at the end of that sentence, but in this case, they will just be crying. It sweeps them into the air and is one of the few moves in the game that can reliably juggle. So you might be wondering how I can possibly balance this character. Naturally, I gave it the best neutral air in the game. It throws the staff, which sticks to any wall it hits. It's a solid projectile, so it pushes any character right into the blast zone. The drawback is that Staffmaster loses its staff and all of its attacks for a few seconds, but it can easily hide on its staff in the wall. The special air is the move I designed this character around, but ironically, it's the worst move it has. It spins its staff and flies, which has incredible camping possibilities, but as an actual move, it does a pretty bad job of trapping the other player, and it can't kill. That's a lie, I can kill Stoner. Worldbreaker is the fifth character, and she sounds a lot more threatening than she really is. Worldbreaker's gimmick is her psychokinetic powers. Because of this gimmick, Worldbreaker falls half as quickly as the rest of the cast, a distinction that helps her a lot with aerial combat in the game. Her neutral ground is a charged energy ball that, at its strongest, is the hardest hitting move in the game. I'm also very proud of the charging animations. While you can't move with a charged ball, you can turn around, a capability that's just as useful in this character as it is on cars.
I need to go that way. Just turn around. I can't turn around.
The special ground is the only grab in the game. It's also the most broken grab in the game. I mean, just look at it. Why did the devs let this slip through? To complement Worldbreaker's powerful grab attacks, her special air places a platform below her so she can truly grab you from anywhere.
What?
If a platform is already placed, special ground instead gives her a second jump. This isn't the most intuitive move, but it lets you admire the beautiful jump animation even more.
Nice.
Lastly, the neutral air is a spin in the air similar to Falco's down air. It even spikes. This is the most normal aerial attack in the game, which is a good thing for such an abnormal character to have. Adding to the abnormality, this is the only character in the game that I know is broken, and not in a good way. When specifically player 2 selects World Breaker, it is possible for her to despawn herself. The final character is a glass cannon. No, I mean, it's a glass cannon. It's also the smallest, fastest, and best character in the game. Some of the moves feel similar to Snake Hunters. Neutral ground and special air both fire cannonballs in appropriate directions. What really helps this character out are its melee attacks. Its neutral air is fast and hits up, which is useful for ambushing other players in the air. And its special ground is just good. Before I move on to the stages, I feel I should identify some key aspects of this game that make it different from every other platform fighter on the market. First, you can't die to the abyss. If you fall too low, you're sent back to the top and fall infinitely. This makes the game easy for bad players, without making it floaty. It also lets me make a game with 4 moves without having to worry about recovery moves. However, because every character falls at the same speed, you might find yourself in a position like this. That's where the parachute comes in. By pressing up in the air, you can deploy one parachute that slows your fall. Aerial combat and competition would probably be based around the gamble of when to deploy your parachute, because if you can't hit the opponent before you reach full speed, you're left without a way to control your fall speed. This also makes World Breaker's fall speed an interesting mechanic, because this standstill can't happen when she's on screen. Also, I have to mention the taunts. Now, each character has their own stage. Freefaller, being from the caves, has the bottomless pit, where the stage falls infinitely, slowly enough to hopefully not cause motion sickness. Staffmaster is the best character on the stage because the only way to die is off the top, and the best way to hit up is with its special ground. Snake Hunter's stage tries to mimic the stages from his game. The easiest way to kill on the stage is off the sides, where Glass Cannon's speed, range, and size comes in handy. I made the blast zone a bit too wide, however, so you may find a character gone but not forgotten when they get hidden off screen. Stoner's stage is just his nose. It's a pretty boring stage, but the gap on the right is the perfect size for World Breaker's grab to dominate. Unfortunately for World Breaker, the stage has a top blast zone, meaning Staffmaster gets to return to the throne. Speaking of Staffmaster, this is his stage.
Oh my god.
Let's move on to a stage that looks better. World Breaker's asteroid field is presumably the remains of a world she's just broken. Its Pokéfloats turn to level 10. There's no law, order, or reason to the movement of these asteroids. Sometimes there aren't even any asteroids at all. It's a chaotic mess where all you can do is try to survive. And it's the most fun stage there is. There's no best character in the asteroid field, but as you might have guessed, Stoner is the worst. That's why I immortalized it as an asteroid. The final stage is not Glass Cannon specific. It's just soccer. There are 2 ways to win in this stage, by losing all of your stocks behind the goal, or by scoring 10 times. Fascinatingly, the best character here is Stoner. Is it because of the big rock's speed, agility, or sheer ball skill? No, it's just too big to fit through the goal. What can you do about this but lose? I promised I would explain the character select screen, and explain it I will. Amidst problems with netcode, it turns out multiplayer is very hard to implement in general. I didn't know how to let both players choose from the same select screen, so I did what I could to make the select screen work, and ended up with this. That mindset represents the entire creative process of this game, and at the end of it, while it's good, it's not all that great.
You can see a bastardized version of it in the description, since for some reason making it a web app screws with the sprite layers, but I think I'll go back to playing Melee. Damn it!